and welcome back to the Edison Club. Today, bringing you a sixth place finishing Diva Zombie hero list from the South Carolina Case Tournament, featuring my friend who is also in here with me, Cody Hug. Cody, how was your tournament experience?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? It was definitely different. My matchups were kind of whack, but it was definitely all different. The first round was Lightsworn. It was a quick 2-0. They milled all their spells and traps and no Lightsworn names, which was kind of upsetting. Diva Hero, I ended up losing in game 3. I got beat game 1. It was close. Game 2, I Colossal Armorium OTK'd them. And game 3, I had the Nuts opening hand, but he summoned Vanity's Fiend on me, and I ended up losing because of that, which, I mean, it's whatever. It happens. I didn't have an answer, but that's fine. Third round, I played against Sasha in the Zombie Mirror, and that was probably one of the fastest matches I ever had with him. I two-turn killed him both games 1 and 3, which was easy. Round 4, I thought it was plants. It was very weird. It had like stop defense, a lone fire, scapegoat. I didn't see any debris dragons. I saw titanial, so it was kind of like I'm assuming it was just like a throw together, but
Yeah.
it literally honestly could have been anything. His build was whack. And the 5th round was Zombie Wella Dad. He played zombies with heroes and Crevens with the Wella quick play spell. So it was definitely an idea, but he was not the greatest player. He was kind of learning the deck as he went along. So I'll give him props for making a good run with it. But going X1, got 6th place. My one loss to the round 2 player. He ended up getting 7th place, so he brought my record down, which made me a little angry, but that's okay. It's tournaments, it's whatever. But I'm ready to go in. The first thing is the 3 Diva heroes. I do not need Gilman. Gilman's okay. I tried playing with only 2 without the hero package, but it was definitely still needed at 3. I think the hero package is absolutely needed. The standard 4 is Stratos with the Prodigy of the 2 Malleys. I never really got to use Prodigy for Caius because I never saw Caius. It actually became more effective as an alert target and for Tragodia because I yoinked a Raikou to mix with my Plague to make Army Arm and just comboed with there. So that was kind of funny. The floaters is the Mystic Tomato, the Pyramid Turtle, and the 2 Goblin Zombies. Someone did ask me at that tournament why I played Mystic Tomato over 2 Turtle or vice versa. I just felt that one of each is fine because Mystic Tomato goes straight into Mally. It just becomes diverse to just summon it right away to get my Plague Spreader or Diva play, which is a combo piece. 1 turtle was necessary. I don't think there's ever time I needed a second one. If I need a second one, I'm losing. And I don't really want to play passive, I want to play aggressive. So the 1 is perfectly fine with me.
That makes sense.
The rest of the zombie stuff is 1 Plague, 1 Mizuki, 1 Zombie Master, 1 Spirit Reaper. I think Spirit Reaper, for me, in the past 2 months playing this, has actually been underwhelming. It's got me through 1 matchup versus Hero Beat, but other than that, I literally just don't poke with it a lot. I mean, I ripped 2-3 cards in 1 game out of the whole tournament, but other than that, I just never saw it. There were points where I just cited it out, and it was just a piece I just never needed.
Yeah.
And then the original 5 boss monsters, 2 Caius, Dad, Gorz, Tragodia. I think out of those 5, Tragodia is definitely by far the best one. Dark Arm I summoned twice in the first game and first round. Never saw it again after. Caius I saw twice the whole tournament. Gorz I saw maybe twice. I dropped it once. Tragodia, though, I don't know how. It's just like glue to me. It just stuck with me every single time I wanted it. So I would say Tragodia is definitely the MVP of this whole tournament. That's 20 for the monster count, which is fine. I wouldn't want to change anything in the monster lineup. Maybe consider a second turtle best, but it's not necessary. And I think that the ratio right here is fine.
Yeah.
The spell lineup is the 1 Future Fusion with the 2 Miracle Fusion. I saw a build about 2 days before I went to this tournament where he was playing Miracle, and I wanted to give it a second shot. I played in a tournament where I had 1, I never saw it, so I tried it with 2 to try to see it. I saw it twice the entire tournament and used it once. I don't know how to just not see this card at 2. I saw Tragodia at 1, but I can't see Miracle at 2, which is logic.
Yeah.
Brain Control and Minecon. I got rid of the Econ. Econ just It was good for a while to play defense and to sack my stuff to get my opponent's pieces to kind of combo off, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to lose my more resources that I need. Plus, it doesn't really help me because I try to combo Diva with oppression, which it worked for a bit to yoink a dude, but at the end, it was still able to negate, which really just kind of hurt me. So I was like, I'd rather just take it out for something else. So Brain and Minecon is perfectly fine. One heavy, one MST, the staples removal stuff, one allure, one foolish, one book of life, and one my body. I only need one book of life. Some people play two. I did get asked a lot why I only play one. I mean, if you really look at it, I only have what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zombies, not including the extra.
Yeah.
You don't really get to see that ratio a lot. If it was where I spam it with like 8, 9 zombies, I would consider playing two, but I feel like 7 is just like a cap. A rule that I kind of went by that someone told me years and years and years ago was same thing with Dark Arm. If you don't have a minimum of 8 to 9, maybe 10 dark monsters in your deck, you shouldn't play Dark Arm because it's just too small and you're not going to see that ratio. So for Book of Life, I kind of use that ratio for I could play 1, but unless I was playing like 9, I would play 2 Book of Life. But 1 is fine, and then my body is that thing put in work. I think people are seriously underestimating this card. Especially my favorite combo is Diva Zombie with Goblin Zombie, or Diva Hero with Goblin Zombie. Summon the 2 and make Brio.
Yeah.
Search for a Mizuki. They're going Bottomless or Torrential, anything that's not Solemn Judgment, and I just go, my body's a shield. I don't care about the 1500. I'm going for the kill.
Yeah.
And this completely blows them out of the water. They literally do not see it coming, which is fantastic. I highly recommend people to play my body as a shield. Trap lineup is 2 Phoenix Wing Blast. I was playing Raigeki Break in some testing builds because there's some stuff I didn't actually want my opponent to redraw, but at the same time, it's good to outstart us and other things, and it's just a setback, which is great, but it really depends on the matchups you go in. Plus, it actually works combo-wise with Armageddon Knight, Deep Sea Diva, Stratos, anything that's like off an effect on someone that searches through the deck. I can just use the Phoenix Wing to shuffle it back, and I don't have to worry about it right away. I mean, unless it's Stratos or Stratos, sure, but most of the time with the other stuff, they're actually just going backwards, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
One Solemn Judgment standard. Return for a Different Dimension, which is still by far the best trap in this format. It's literally the most ultimate offense and defensive card in the entire game. There's no reason to not play it. One Call the Haunted. There was combo plays with Diva, Goblin Zombie, Call the Haunted, because I would purposely just set my Turtle, my Tomato, my Goblin Zombie, search for a dude or Plague, reborn it, make Brio, bounce to Call the Haunted, reset it as a combo piece, and just go off, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Anytime Brio gets to bounce your own cards, it leads to some kind of shenanigan.
It's either you need to set up your grave or you're going to reset your board, which either way, regardless, is fantastic.
Yeah.
One Torrential Tribute, one Mirror Force, and one Dust Tornado. And ultimately, one of the worst traps, in my opinion, is the one trap Dust Shoot. The only reason I'm playing this is because, 1, I lost a bet with somebody and I told them I would play it. 2, a bunch of my friends would tell me to play it just to shut them up, but I would not recommend playing this card at all. I am not a fan of it. I don't even need the note take. The only time it actually came up that was relevant was against Sasha, my Zombies mirror match. I went first. I went set Return from Different Dimension, set a Goblin Zombie, set Trap Dust You pass. And I know his playstyle to where he's going to play Future Fusion, summon Diva, Gores. Like, he has some combo plays in his hand, but he ended up doing the same thing I did, set a monster, set 2 back row, and I'm like, great, now I have a dead Trap Dust Shoot, which is why I hate it. I'm not a player that likes to play the Trap Dust Shoot right away. Yes, you get the hand knowledge, but in reality, it's actually much better, in my experience, to wait until they do a play than to do it right away, only because if you could set them back, because if they waste like an E-call on a Stratos or anything like that, and you flip the Dust Shoot in a scenario matchup, that's fantastic because you're putting it back. But what made this combo fantastic was I was able to go off combo piece-wise, get the Brio, bounce my opponent's board, and I have exactly 8,000. I ended up my board with Absolute Zero, Brionac, and Thought Ruler Archfiend, which was exactly 8,000 on board because of the boost from Ab Zero's effect. And he didn't scoop right away because if he had Gores or Trag from what he had, he doesn't scoop. So I flipped the Dust Shoot and he had Gores, and then I ultimately killed him. And he was actually more angry that I waited with the Dust Shoot than flipping it. But it was optimal at that time. But that's just a one-off. I would never play Trap Dust Shoot ever again after this tournament. But I think if I had to replace it, I would replace it with a card I'll explain in my sideboard, the Snowman Eater, or I would replace it with a Bottomless or a D Prison. But for now, that's what I have.
Okay.
Side deck wise, 2 DD Crow. I did have 3. There were some points where I needed 3, but I feel like unless I'm gonna be maining 3 or main 1, I feel like 2 is just a good number ratio. It's still the best hand trap in the game besides Gores, so I would say 2 is a minimum in any person's sideboard. 1 Snowman Eater. I did have some water troubles now that I was playing Miracle, but I'm like, well, if I'm running into a certain matchup and I lose, then it works out. And the only time Snowman backfired on me, my opponent had Lila and Arceus. He attacked into my Snowman. I had to pop my own Snowman because Arceus protected it from being targeted. So I had to pop my own Snowman and end up taking more damage because he summoned the Arceus. And I was still able to get damage in the water for the Miracle, but that backfired ultimately in that matchup. So I completely did not see that coming. 1 Lightning Vortex, which is a standard for most zombie players overall, but just fantastic. And the new addition that I put in, 2 Noblemen across out. I would run into matchups where I see more monsters being set than being summoned in certain situations, like the plants format or deck, the zombie deck, Sunlight Sworn decks because of Raikou, Rescue Cat because they play Hamster, just anything in general to just book something. So I would just go with Knock to get rid of it, and it's just a phenomenal removal card. I tested it in Blackwing just in another tournament I was in, and I was like, why am I not playing this in Zombies? So I threw it in there, and it probably is going to be one of the main cards I keep in my sideboard forever. But for now, it was just a test in the water, and it worked perfectly. The next is the Bottomless. 1 Dust Tornado. I was playing 2 to play 3 for back removal. 1 is fine in the side. You don't really need more than 2. I definitely needed it because oppression was a problem, but I was able to play around it with this new tech I was putting in. 2 Light Prison Mirrors, the Lightsworn staple. 2 Pulling the Rug for the Monarch matchup, and 2 Trap Stun. I kind of went more of the aggro type of protective style, and the way I mean it is I used to have Cyber Dragons, I used to have Skill Drains, I had other stuff on my Deep Prison on my side, but ultimately I was just thinking I don't need those. If anything, I would probably replace the Light Prison Mirror with Skill Drain or maybe Pulling the Rug. So I decided Pulling the Rug, but I never saw it other than once, but I was already in a winning position, so I never got to use it extensively, but that's okay. The Trap Stun though, phenomenal trap. I love this card. I completely underestimated it. Basically, in the Hero Beat matchup and some testings before we started the tournament, I played it, and I completely blew them out of the water. They couldn't Starlight Road me. They couldn't Hero Blast me. They couldn't Deep Prison me. They couldn't Bottomless me. Like, everything they had completely shut down, all because of Trap Stun. And anything they had to flip was Gemini Spark, but they didn't have it. They were losing. So I thought this was fantastic. And especially with my body, if I hit the one of, perfect combination. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
The next is the extra as 2 Ab-Zero. I was playing 1. The replacement for the second is clearly the Chimera Tech, but obviously I'm not playing anymore. If I had to change it, I'd probably put in Magical Android in replace of it, but 1 is I never need a Magical Android. Actually, if anything, Black Rose Dragon, Catastor were the worst cards. I don't have a lot of ways to make it, so unfortunately they were dead, but that's okay. 1 E-Hero Gaia, I never summoned it once. I could have summoned it a couple times. I could have used it as a future fusion target, but it just never came up. But it's still viable to put it in. There's just still too much resources from sending Mizuki or Pyramid Turtle, or if I summon Gaia Knight, which is in my extra, I can use that as a material for Gaia, which is fantastic. So it's not completely dead. It was just never used. For the level 8s is 1 Colossal, 1 Darkin, 1 Stardust, 1 Thought Ruler. I don't need Red Dragon Archfiend. I've seen some people play Red Dragon Archfiend. Not needed. It's cool, but it's all right. But the best synchro by far that I played more than any other card was Stardust, followed by Thought Ruler Archfiend. People are completely underestimating Thought Ruler. Most people are just playing, because of the way I'm playing my body, I'm actually more aggressively summoning Thought Ruler. Because it just can't be targeted. It's a big body. I'm getting light points. It's huge. It is not something people should be underestimating. Like, sure, you have Goyo and you have Colossal and you have Darkin, sure, but there's not a lot of options in the main deck to actually get around this thing. So unless you're gonna go beat over it with Honest or something, like, Thought Ruler is just a big boss body. People are completely underestimating this card, and I feel like people should consider it more of a threat than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
1 Black Rose, I'm gonna probably take this card out. I desperately try to make this work. I had a Ghost Rare. It's probably my last run with it. I'm probably gonna replace it with Android, because Android's much easier to summon, but we'll just see what happens. But right now, it's just in there just for the sake of it. The 6s is 1 Brio, 1 Dune Kaiser, 1 Gaia Knight, 1 Goyo, 1 Revived King. Unfortunately, Brio and Gaia were the only ones I really got to summon through this tournament. I try to make most of the others. I never really summoned Goyo. I never summoned Revived King. It just never came up a situation where I needed it. Brio was just number 1, followed by Gaia number 2. Gaia's same thing is because of the reason the last video I made, it dodges Fiendish Chain, which I actually saw someone play in the tournament. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. I can dodge it with this. Yeah. So it was kind of one of those, oh, this is neat kind of scenarios. So it's fine. 1 Allied Justice Catastor. It's standard in most decks. I'm probably going to replace it with Android because most people are playing Darks now and it's just kind of meh. But in the Light Swarm matchup, it's good. And it's just a standard card. The last one is Army Arm. I still get the Colossal OTK people, which is fantastic. Or there's a point where I used Tragodia, yoinked a dude, summoned Diva to get a second Diva, made an Armory Arm into a Brio, which it was needed at that time, and completely just blew everyone out, and it was just there, which was fantastic. So, overall, tournament-wise, it was a great turnout. I just wish Element Gaming could have been more better. It took about an hour 15 for the first 3 rounds to get set up, which I can understand some hiccups happen, but I would recommend hopefully they move a little faster. Shout outs to all the players that made top 8. Shout out to Mr. Lee for finally getting his first top 8. And I know he was wanted to get that because he was telling me he wanted a top 8 for Edison for a while. So I'm glad to see that happen. Shout out to you guys for having me continuously come back and help out, promote the channel in some way. I'm just glad to be able to play, meet new friends, talk to people, just get that good positive aura of people to be around with, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
If I would have to change anything in this build just for Quicksies, I would probably replace Trap Does Shoot for a Snowman Eater that's on my side, or I would put in Deep Prison. The reason I didn't play Deep Prison is because I found it too slow for my version. There are some people where they'll play it because they run into the defense versus Bottomless, where I just want to get rid of the thing right then and there and force them to just kind of play away. Plus, with some people that actually ran into Thought Ruler, Bottomless is just better, and then when there's Stardust, this Deep Prison's better, but you really just kind of know like what kind of player you're playing against. So if you kind of read your opponent on what they do, you should be in a winning position, but it all depends on how you kind of see your opponent. But overall, I think this is a fantastic list to play. Sideboard wise, just to throw it out there, I replaced all the hero package, which is the Miracle, Future, Stratos, Prodigy, and I kind of left the Malleys, but sometimes I take them out for any 5 to 7 cards. It just made it easy for me to sideboard and just play a strictly Diva zombie build, which kind of worked out, but it really just depends on who you're working with. But overall, I'm happy with this build. I'm happy for the tournament outcome. Happy to have my deck profile here once again. And whoever's going to be out at the 2K tournament for Edison, please come on out. We'd love to talk about Edison, get to see some matchups, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely come out to the 2K event.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be, once again, that will be this Saturday at Big Boy Gaming in Smithfield, North Carolina. Cody here, he will be our head judge for the event. So definitely come out, say hello. It's going to be a great time, and come win some money, guys. Cody, thank you so much for sitting down with me today, man. Really enjoyed it. Feel like we have a lot of new information out there, and look forward to having you back soon.
Thank you very much. I'll be happy to come out anytime.
Awesome. All right, guys. This is Mike from the Edison Club signing out until the next one.